Yoga of Ancient Russians. Part 1. Today, we are going to talk about the direction of yoga that existed on the territory of Russia in ancient times. Before the advent of the ideas that Jesus Christ brought to earth. We will be sure that even when God led worthy people to Himself, and that these worthy people had the highest spiritual knowledge from Him. There were, of course, among the Slavs and pagan versions of the faith. What is paganism? This is, so to speak, folklore belief, a fabulous belief in various fictional characters. But with other people, more intelligent. After all, people differ in intelligence. Differ in intelligence as a result of what? As a result, first, the degree of evolutionary maturity of the soul. And this depends, among other things, on the age of the soul. And the second, due to how the free will was used, how the opportunity was used to evolve by these people. Someone raised themselves in goodness, in love. Someone raised themselves in vices. People differ in this among themselves within any social group. And so, intelligent people understood the meaning of their existence on earth in a completely different way. They understood it as an opportunity for self-improvement in the face of God. They understood that they must love their Creator. They learned to love Him, loving, first of all, His creation, and then, through love for Him, they merged with Him. This is the true way. Those people knew about the existence of the one God, the Father Almighty, the Creator. And in different localities on the Slavic lands, he was called either Svarog or Rod. And there are still words derived from these two words. For example, the outdated word ungul from the word svarog, that is, to create, or such Russian words as родители, parents, rod, kin, clan, rodu, birthing, rodit, to create, to give birth, originate from the name God, Rod. We know divine teachers who worked in the region that corresponds to the European part of modern Russia in that time. Among them was Osiris, who guided the spiritual development of incarnate people in the forest regions of this part of the planet. The same mission in steppes was performed by Kurgan Bashi. Among other teachers, helping people in their spiritual quest were Surya, Lada, Yasin. In later times, during the continuing baptism of Russia in the eastern part of the country, Rada, Alexei, and their son Eremei attained divinity, and now they serve the evolution of consciousness from the abode of the Creator. We also know a few divine teachers who recognized the Creator and attained divinity, living at the time of Soviet power: Peter, Oleg, Sukhodolsky, Igor Vysotin. You can read about all this in our book, Classics of Spiritual Philosophy and the Present. In this land, other teachers work as well. Jesus Christ and his divine apostles, Andrew, John, Matthew, Mark, Philip, also Babaji from Haidar Krishna, Satya Sai Baba, Odin, Tahatep, Elizabeth H., Sakar, Sakral, Yamamoto, Yamamata, divine teachers from the Indian, Muslim, Taoistic, Buddhistic traditions. The divine Siberian woman, Anastasia, who was described in the books of Vladimir Megre, also helps people here. But of course, there are still many others whom we have not yet had time to get to know personally. From Conversations with Osiris. So let's start with selected quotes from my conversation with the divine Osiris. Long ago, I raised two waves of spirituality on the earth, one on the land of ancient Assyria and Persia, long before the establishment of Islam there. Another one on the land of Russia, before the coming of Christianity. I supported these waves from my non-incarnate state. People worshipped me as the god of sun or god of fire. Usually, I would come to my disciples in forms similar to the sun or divine fire. And only occasionally I would assume, for a short time, the form of a herdsman or a wanderer, an appearance visible to ordinary people. I was not born, nor did I die in this kalpa. I acted through my children, who could easily perceive me. I taught worshipping not the sun or fire, but the one Father existing in everything. And I continue teaching this now. The methods that I suggested are most precisely represented in your 3 steps of centering. This is one of our films. These were 3 fundamental stages of development that students had to master one after another. First, the spiritual heart of any person has to develop in everyday life. And only the one who becomes absolutely steadfast in the states of love-giving receives the possibility of further growth in a spiritual school which has serious esoteric methods. Only after this, on the first stage of studying in my school, the students mastered spreading with the spiritual heart over the surface of the earth, and then dissolution of the consciousness. The second stage implied living in the state of a spiritual heart united with the heart of the planet. Mastering this stage normally took more than one incarnation of the soul. The students also had first contacts with the Creator. On the third stage, the students cognized the Creator. And then, all these 3 centers of self-awareness had to be connected by a ray of the Son of God. This ray goes through the material body of the student, and the center where this ray originated is the heart of the Absolute. I'll clarify. The Creator calls himself as the heart of the Absolute, that is, the main part of the Absolute. When this ray becomes a constant attribute of the soul, or essential to the Creator, then such a soul becomes a son of God or a daughter of God. It is the fullness of a soul's self-realization. I would not like to tell you now about the further steps. I want to tell you about another thing. I want to tell you about the love of God, about how unconditional the divine love is. This love is like the light of the sun, which shines equally on everyone, warming everyone. It is the nature of the sun to shine. The nature of fire is to be bright and to warm. The nature of sugar is to be sweet. The nature of the sun is to shine. The nature of love is to give. Let me repeat. The nature of love is to give oneself to others. Love is the state in which God lives, and God shines from himself, with himself. Some people aspire to light, others hide in the shade. But they all receive their lives from him. One has to learn to be the light of God's love. One has to live not as a body, but as light giving itself. One has to shine with love. Then the soul gradually transforms into the purity of the clear light of the Creator. And now I am going to outline for you the last two steps of the path. The first one of them is the program minimum, and the second is program maximum. The attributes of the warrior of the spirit are a shield and a sword. From the warrior of spirit, the life in the material world is a life on the battlefield. In order to become independent and invincible, to avoid becoming engaged into the tumult of worldly passions, and to develop detachment, the warrior of the spirit gains a shield. One has to fight for this shield. The warrior of the spirit receives it as a result of many years of everyday struggle for perfection. Possessing the shield implies the ability of living in the heart of the Absolute, behind the curtain, much deeper than this world with its whirling of passions. From the very depth, the warrior of the spirit raises with the strong arms the curtain as an infinite shield. This shield makes the warrior invincible. This is the shield of the Creator. It is impenetrable to worldly passions, to hatred of enemies, to mundane fuss. However, one can attain more. The one who masters living in constant mergence with the infinity of the Creator, who lives beneath the shield as an infinite heart, united with the heart of the Absolute, with the Son of God. Such a one receives a sword. The sword is a divine ray, unchanging in its original subtlety and coessential to the Son of God, which is directed from the very essence of everything to the creation. The sword implies the ability of doing the will of the Creator on the earth in all its fullness. It is a scepter gifted by the Father, a symbol of the royal power. It is the intent of the Creator. It is the whole power of God, concentrated in one ray and directed to the world of the creation, bringing fully the will of the Creator to any object. The Creator says, "Be," and it happens. We asked, "What would you advise us now?" Whatever happens around you on the material plane, contrast it with the eternity of life in me. And another thing, you have to inspire people to serve me. You have to kindle their hearts with the ideas of service to God. I am like the sun. I shine always. Shadow and light, day and night, exist for you only while you live on the earth and experience yourself as a body. The sun gives its light always. Sunrises and sunsets are just a result of the Earth's rotation. Where there is Earth's shadow, there is night. Where the Earth faces the sun, there is day. I am like the sun. I am always light, love, calm. All shadows and duality are in people. But I shine equally at everyone. As the sun sends its rays, even so I send my sons and daughters to the earth. Ancient Russia was a good soil for God, thanks to the preservation of the ethical divine laws, the laws of love. For a long time, I could preserve the knowledge about the highest in my schools. Thanks to this, souls could be embodied in the conditions where there was knowledge about the path. These schools were directed by divine or nearly divine souls. Every such a soul is like a tree that grows over the earth and supports the existing hearth of spirituality. Only mature souls were selected to these schools for teaching them the higher esoteric methods. The criterion of selection was the ability of the developed consciousness to think seriously. Possessing a developed spiritual heart was necessary, yet not a sufficient condition. At that time, in Russia, there was a natural economy, and spiritual schools always had enough food because local communities supported them materially. And the people of the communities received from the schools help in the form of warnings about droughts and bad harvests, hearing of diseases, teaching of children. Such a community and a school near it lived as one organism, as one family. Those coming from me helped. First of all, mature souls who did not need to develop the intellect through filling the mind with information. The ability to think creatively is developed best of all against the background of contemplative calm. Many people grew inside such schools. Through contemplation about natural phenomena, about all kinds of living organisms, children learned to think. The adults just corrected, guided this work of the consciousness. any bug, any flying bird, any dry or living branch of a tree could become a schoolbook for understanding life and death. The connectedness of the consciousness with its material container, the similarities and diversities of the forms of life. It was the first stage of studying, and then it was very easy to explain to such a soul that God, living, is present always and everywhere, right here and now, and that everyone is responsible before him for one's own thoughts and deeds. Then, quite easily and quickly, students learned to perceive the multidimensional space. They had a small number of indriyas connected to the material plane. It was easy for me to redirect the indriyas of the soul to cognition of the non-material plane, to conversations with divine souls. It is conversations of the soul with God, with the non-incarnate divine consciousness. That was the basis of learning. Thanks to this, I could easily give lessons to everyone. The incarnate teachers just had to correct this process, to explain the main methods, not more. And the main teacher was God. Submerging into the depths of me was as smooth and natural as life itself. It was the growing up of children in a divine family. And there was no need to speed up this growth. Do you remember? I gave such an image. In order to cross a powerful river on a boat, one needs to make constant efforts, to row constantly. Otherwise, one cannot reach the other bank. So was your spiritual path. But in those times, the worldview and the structure of the society allowed a wide bridge to exist. When there is such a bridge, one can walk over a turbulent river without being afraid of the swift current and rapids. It is the correct structure of the society that allows making the path to God a bridge, by which one can safely cross the powerful river of samsara. Conversations with Bright New Moon. Transparent, non-material, clear light. Youth sparkling with the power of life. A joyful, shining eyes and smile. This is Bright New Moon, one of the many disciples of Osiris. Bright New Moon starts speaking. If you could convey this state of soul through your films, to make the hearts be filled with joy, to make the ice of skepticism and despondency melt away, to help everyone to see how close the true happiness is, to allow souls to touch the life-giving joy of light, love and spring, Give these states so that everyone who has watched your films may want to share this joy with others and to tell others about this. Thus, people will learn to enjoy watching opening leaves and sparkling dewdrops, white birches and murmuring brooks, singing birds, and your eyes shining with joy. Our tenderness will be behind every frame, every word, every sound of your films. Our hands will be stretched to viewers' hearts to make them aspire to light, to divine purity. Everything is so simple. To become happy, one needs to make a little step in the right direction. And then it becomes clear that behind everything that is beautiful, there is its creator, God. And one's heart, filled with joy, begins to aspire to him. And the methods of further advancement are known to you. We ask, bright new moon, tell us, please, how did you attain divinity? I just completed a forest school of Osiris. There were two main directions in our education. The first one was development of souls, as spiritual hearts, and cognition of God. First in the aspect of the Holy Spirit, and then in the aspect of God the Father, as you can call him in your language. The second one was the ability of living independent of the body and helping incarnate and non-incarnate souls from this state. As a result of such education, even those students who had not mastered the fullness of divinity, that is, mergence with the Creator, after disembodiment, continued their part of the service. Everyone chose what they knew best. I would like to elaborate on this. Having mastered, for example, living in large, subtle states, everyone would master the ability of giving them through oneself. Someone created fields of love on places where children play, in order to accustom them to living in a field of love, so that even when playing games, children would not feel the emotions of offense, hatred, or irritation. And children got used to correct emotional reactions. And the parents explained to them the same thing in words. Or, for example, taking care of plants, of gardens or trees in the forest. Have you noticed that on your places of powers there are plants of wonderful beauty? Beautiful tall trunks and dense crowns of deciduous trees, beautiful soft needles, and trunks full of life of the coniferous friends of ours. While on places with adverse energies, especially those created by evil people, plants look like poor, sick children. understands the importance of love that an incarnate or non-incarnate person can give to nature. One has to teach people not only a non-harming attitude towards our lesser brothers and sisters, but to love them. After all, they are our lesser friends, capable of creating and maintaining on the planet the energy states of paradise. There were many other possible aspects of our service. For example, helping souls after disembodiment to become acquainted with life without a body, create musical rhythms and tunes, etc. Every next step of learning was accompanied by mastering such skills of service. And whenever the death of the body came, the soul was already schooled in some spiritual profession, which was useful in the life without a body. Conversations with Surya. Now let's hear what Surya once told us. There was a culture in Russia where the cordial love was a norm of life, rather than an exception. The atomic component of the multidimensional human organism was included into one's life from the very beginning, from one's birth, and the states of harmony and subtlety in which people lived allowed one to accumulate this valuable potential of the soul very quickly. I'll clarify what Surya says here about Kundalini. It is one of the manifestations of Atman in a multidimensional human organism. In this way, everyone developed in a series of incarnations until it was time for full realization of this potential emergence with God the Father, Svarog. And the methods for realization of this emergence were also known. Schools for souls, where students were taught cognition of the Creator, existed near settlements, and there were soft interactions of the spiritual adepts with other people. All this was natural. Some people, after completing school, go to university. Others naturally want to create families and cultivate the land. It was the same in that time. Some chose the earthly love, while others sought cognition of the Creator in love for Him. And there was no disdain towards those who were not mature enough to choose the latter. As it is in a loving family where all children of different ages are friendly with each other, love their parents and each other. The life of people was not a biblical Eden, where there are no difficulties and sorrows. But look, the people of hatred, when an affliction befalls them, take revenge on others to make others too feel bad. On the contrary, people of the opposite pole, the people of love, if affliction befalls them, continue living in order to help others to avoid this problem. This is the secret of earthly happiness. The sun was a symbol of Svarog, and every student had to learn to kindle the light of the sun, first within the body, then within the earth. After that, the stage of mergence with Sun Svarog followed. What can compare to the shining of Svarog in his abode? Incarnation of an avatar is always a sacrifice, joyful, volitional. It means giving oneself to people. Avatars come to those who have forgotten what love is. They, like doctors, come to heal sick souls. My forest sun always shines. Come to me. We ask, please do not leave. Tell us in more detail what methods of development of the consciousness did you use in your work with disciples?
We
worked a lot at sunrise, using the rising of the sun. We learned to be the sunlight, to shine with sun rays on the spiritual hearts. What do the majority of people do in the morning? The answer is simple. They sleep. But if man, even once in a lifetime, watched the sunrise consciously, leaving the warm bed and cozy home for this purpose, and overwhelmed with delight, one-to-one with the rising sun, watched the sunrise, then this person would not have lived the earthly life in vain. We used the same methods of work with the consciousness as you do. We just expressed them in different words. Tell us, please, about how you worked. The best time to begin such work is spring and summer. Usually, we chose the place for meditation beforehand. It could be a glade in the forest, or a bank of a forest lake or river, or a high hill. We came out before the sunrise and walked unhurriedly to the intended place, immersing ourselves into the morning quietness. Have you ever noticed how wonderful the quietness before the sunrise is? Almost all living beings sleep a peaceful sleep. Nothing disturbs the quietness of the early morning. One has to be able to listen to the quietness, to become filled with it, and to be it. It is an important component of the spiritual development of man. For example, if at sunrise in the forest one begins to listen to the quietness of the space around with the ears of the soul, or to be more precise, with the ears of the spiritual heart, then one can become the absolute quietness. When inside you there is only quietness, the lower self turns into nothing. Nothing of it disturbs the quietness and harmony of the world around. In such quietness, one may hear everything, from the soft murmuring of a forest brook, the whispering of leaves, or the warm breathing of sleeping animals, to the most confidential mysteries of the creation. In this quietness, one may hear the voice of God. One may ask questions and receive answers. There is only the united I of the ocean of the primordial consciousness, where everything is clear for everyone without words, and the only language is used, the language of love. Everyone here gives oneself, oneself's love, to all, to the united one. The essence of the divine beingness is very simple: harmony and love. But in order to become one with the Creator, it is not enough just to achieve the Creator's abode and to learn to live in it. Only they become completely one with the Creator, who come out from His abode to embodied beings, manifesting the Creator and being Him. This is the completion of the full cycle of development. Many of those who had attained the abode then incarnated themselves again with the mission of service in order to achieve this completeness, this fullness of the divine state. You know many such examples. Thus I incarnated myself too. I'll tell you about one significant method of spiritual work. It is one of the most fundamental methods, which was presented to us by Surya. Since that time, this meditation was named among us as Surya 1. It needs to fully relocate the feeling of the upper dantian into the chest. And now we see with the eyes of the soul, the eyes of the spiritual heart, from our chests. Listen to the silence of the environment with the ears. Surya has presented to us this method of switching off the upper dantian. At the same time, the inner dialogue is turning off, and the lower eye switches off too. Because a head is its generating organ, that is, namely chakra ajna. It is possible to live during meditative trainings without a head. So it is easier to change one's own state of existence, existence out of the body, existence by the spiritual heart. For this, one needs only to swim backwards from the anahata and spread the arms of the consciousness, the arms of the consciousness. In such a case, originate from the spiritual heart being consubstantial to it. The spiritual heart cannot cause any harm to anyone. The spiritual heart is just love, tenderness, and care for others. But indeed, when we must interact with the material world, we need to re-enter a usual human state and switch on our heads again. So there may be a life in the world of matter and a life in the world of the Creator of everything material. We must be able to move from one of these states to another. And because we here have long studied to live in the world of matter, we now must learn to live in the world of the Creator. End of part 1.